I want to thank Hot 120 Degree staff for allowing me to come out. This is Mr. H. And again, we always want to bring you the hot topics. Today is Tuesday, which is our upload day. Tuesday and Wednesdays will be our upload day. We normally upload in the evening after 6 p.m. For all those that have subscribed and want to keep up with us, we'll be consistent with that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Keep us, support us that way. And we will return the favor by giving you good content. Today, we want to talk about Antonio Brown. And maybe he's messing up like biblical portions. You understand what I'm saying? This guy is messing up big time. I think of Proverbs. It says, "A fool will utter all his mind, but a wise man waits till afterwards." It's so much we can say about Antonio, okay? But one thing we got to be truthful about is it is his attitude and his whole approach to the last 14 days that has caused him the biggest problem. And it seems like now he's trying to play the victim mode, but he might be the victim of his own mouth, his own attitude, his own approach. Some of the stuff that he has done in the last few weeks is not wise. And it's going to be a lot of cold days for this brother right now. I mean, for those of you that don't know the story, he got into, well, we can go way back to December, right? When he was on the Steelers and he was causing a little bit of friction there. Okay. And so then Pittsburgh, I'm going to say the word, released him over to the Oakland Raiders. So December, he started having that problem. Around March, he went to the Oakland Raiders. 6 months later, they're releasing him because he's causing friction over a helmet that the supposedly NFL don't even use anymore. And so then he begins to tweet, him and his crew begins to tweet stuff out about the Raiders. Okay. And then, make a long story short, they release him. And then he goes and sign a deal with the New England Patriots. With the Raiders, he was guaranteed $29.1 million. But based on his attitudes and his expression, man, of how he handled his business, he has messed all that up with his mouth. Lost $29 million in 14 days. You tell me this ain't a fool. This man is stupid. But I wouldn't just blame him. His management team are two things. Either they're not wise or they can't handle this guy. And if they can't handle this guy, then we got to really think about what's going on with him mentally. If he's mentally stable, right, then we have to ask our question, does he use drugs from time to time? I'm not saying that he does, but it seems like if you're mentally stable and then all of a sudden you blow up like this and you cause all this ruckus, then somebody got to ask the question, what's going on behind the scenes? Now, if he's not mentally stable, then they knew this. If he's not mentally stable, maybe he's bipolar or whatever it is, then people knew this prior. I mean, he was in college, he went through high school, he was in college, NFL, and people knew this prior. And if that's the case, then his management team should have put the right people around. But if he doesn't have any of those issues, and I'm not saying that he does, if he doesn't have any of those issues, and he has these explosive or unexplained reactions to scenario, or he has this tick when he has to, you know what I mean, cause chaos wherever he goes so that he can function, then his management team really need to consider that. Okay, so This guy, because of running his mouth and getting in and threatening, and I believe he called the general manager of the New England, not New England, the Oakland Raiders, cracker at that point, and I think allegedly he threatened to punch him in the face. Well, as a result of not playing the amount of games that he needed to play for the guaranteed money, he lost $20.1 million dollars from the Oakland Raiders. But you know, he's a bad boy, right? Wide receiver, one of the best that ever did it. Nike endorsements and all that stuff. So he signed a deal with New England Patriots and basically sort of told the Oakland Raiders to kind of kiss his behind, right? But now, the day after he does that, a lawsuit is filed on this man. He got one of his trainers accusing him of sexually assaulting her twice and raping her once. Okay? And she filed that in the federal court. New England Patriots said they weren't going to do anything to him until they investigated the situation. They investigated the situation, and he was still on the team, right? Then this second accuser came out and began to accuse him of when she was working on a mural in one of his houses. She was working on a painting mural. That's what I mean. Begin to accuse him of sexually assaulting her. So then him and his team, supposedly somebody by the name of Eric B. and him, well, him bringing Eric B. Into the conversation, begin to taunt, okay, I'm not going to say harass, but begin to taunt and make fun of the social status of this second accuser. Well, that why the owner of the Patriots was on vacation, right? According to what's out there, right? He was on vacation. He got a whiff of this tweet that Antonio supposedly sent, right? I say allegedly. I'm not saying that he did it. I'm saying allegedly sent to the second accuser, and therefore Robert Kraft immediately told Coach Bill, right, to get rid of him. So Robert Kraft and the coach of the New England Patriots, which is Bill, decided that Antonio has to go, and as a result of that, he did a deal where he's supposed to get 15 million, right, and plus a $9 million bonus, which is 24 million, which would have replaced almost 95% of the 29.1 million that he lost with the Oakland Raiders. But based on this, he has foregone the 9 million. And therefore he won't get the 15 million, he won't get the 9 million. So basically he lost money. Now he may only get paid 158,000 for the 2019 season. Like I said, this brother is a fool, or the management team around him is foolish. There comes a time, pride goes before the fall. It comes a time when you got to shut your mouth. You got two cases out here. The team is willing to keep you on the team, and you still going to go behind the back and tweet the second accuser when they probably had warned you not to say anything to those women. You playing bad boy when you're grown is costly. See, when you're young and you play bad boy, you can get away with it. But when you're grown, it's costly. And it cost him $29.1 million from one team and then $24 million from another team. If he would have played his card right, he could have had like $58 million if he would have played his card right. He would have played a few games with the Oakland Raiders, would have got the $29.1 million guaranteed, would have fought to get out of there, went over to the New England Patriots because he's one of the best wide receivers in the game. He would have also been able to get that $24 million. See, if he'd have played the game right, he could have got like $54 million in his pocket. But no, his pride, his ego, his arrogance, him being undisciplined. Not on the field. On the field he's disciplined. I'm talking about in social life. has cost him. Nike, he no longer has a contract with Nike. He has lost several other endorsements. This is costing him. And so the only solution that he's coming up with um, is that he's going back to school. Well, to his credit, he's saying that the NFL has not taught him, treated him fair. He's saying that he will no longer play in the NFL. He's also saying, how dare Robert Kraft judge him on what he has done when Robert Kraft had his own situation. And I get that and I understand that, because if you sin, as they say, if you break one of the laws, if you offend and sin in one of the laws, you offend and sin in all of the laws, right? Not to get biblical, not to start preaching to you, but that's the way it is in the Old Testament. But here's the deal. When you look at what Robert Kraft did, and I'm not saying this because he's the owner of the team, he supposedly paid a grown-up at a spa to give him some for sexual favors. Let me say that again. He supposedly, allegedly paid a grown-up at a spa for sexual favors. I'm not here to judge whether that was right or wrong. What I am here to say is there's a distinction between paying a grown-up to provide you with sexual favors and you forcing yourself on to a woman or not having a mutual consent. So those are two different degrees of crimes. And so I don't think it's a good comparison. Again, I'm not judging who's right or wrong on that, and I'm not judging that, but I'm just saying it's not a good. The stuff you being accused of is not the stuff Robert Kraft is being accused of. So to me, that's a silly argument. Bottom line, it all goes back to learning how to shut your mouth sometimes. Loose lips sink ships. And again, I didn't try to make this biblical. But it's just coming out of me. I mean, it's in me, it's just coming out of me. You know what I mean? He who keeps his lips saves his soul in that day, right? It's just so many biblical principles here that he has violated that's cost him, again, 29.1 million, and then again, a few days later, 24 million. But his brother says he's going back to school. We pray for him. He should have about 25 million net worth, so he doesn't need to work another day in his life. I pray that he humble himself and that he begin to use that wealth to do some things and help some people and enjoy his life. I don't know what the outcome of his cases are going to be. I'm not going to make no distinction. I'm not even going to put out what I think should happen. But what I need to tell y'all is learn from this man. Sometimes you got to shut your mouth and stop being a fool. Remember, a fool will utter it all, but a wise man will wait after it. A fool will utter it all, but a wise man will wait afterwards. Please subscribe to our channel. Hit the subscribe button below. Hit the bell so you can be notified every time we post new content. Again, this is Mr. H for Hot 120 Degrees.